All right, welcome everybody to the Bookmap Academy meeting. We do this every Thursday at market close. This is a coaching mentoring program. And good morning, Greenie. Yeah, we've got Jack and Vinny in the house as coaches, and we'll go through your content. The whole thing here, the whole gist of the academy. Let me just show you what it is about. If you go to bookmap.com and click on the more button up here and go to Bookmap Academy. It's a coaching and mentoring program. You will be journaling your trading. I'll go over the criteria in just a minute, and then you'll be getting feedback from coaches and or from other like-minded traders in the Bookmap Academy. There's a whole process to it you can read through, and step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, and what you get along the way. So I'll spare you the details on that, and we'll just get into a couple more events here or things. So we have this hashtag Bookmap Desk competition, and you can win some great prizes if you guys are interested in joining that. All you have to do here, I'll show it to you. I'll show you the web page here. Just go to bookmap.com, and then I'll put the link here into the chat for you. Just on either X, Instagram, or LinkedIn, take a screenshot or a photo of your Bookmap Desk setup, and then put in hashtag Bookmap Desk. The software will automatically scrape it and put it up here. You can see other people's setups in here. Some really nice stuff. I mean, look at this guy here. He's got 2 dogs. He's got 7 screens. This guy over here's got 3 screens, and he's got a beautiful view. Yeah, you'll see all sorts of things in here. Pretty cool. Hey, you can win. You can win $1,000, $500 for second place, and you can. It includes Global Plus and data, one from one exchange. You'll read the details up here and get into it. So it's good until the end of the month. So it's mid-month basically. You still have quite a bit of time to jump in and submit your Bookmap Desk photo. All right, so that's that. And then one more thing here. Our supply and demand setups course exclusively on the Bookmap Learning Center. Let me show you that as well. If you go to bookmap.com and then you just click on education, that'll take you to the Learning Center. And this is really a hub for all of the educational products and different documents and web pages, etc. You can find just about anything from here. It's all centralized, and we put these courses together, or this course together here. There's about 10 videos to answer a lot of questions about supply and demand versus support and resistance, and then how to understand and use Bookmap with the liquidity heat map. All right, so it's pretty basic, but there's some really good stuff in there, and I think we'd find it. You guys will find it helpful. All right, now Bookmap Academy criteria and our process in here. It's about journaling and building out your playbook. This is the checklist in the 1 through 4 here that we have, and it would be great if you guys mark these things up on your chart. Number 4 is here your setup. This is kind of a separate checklist as well. However, you're going to drill down impetus, what's moving the market, understand that, and then look at your key levels, mark them up on the higher time frame charts, and then you're going to start to develop strategies and scenarios based off of your factors. Could be previous high of day, high low, time of day, VWAP, whatever it is that you look at. But you're starting to understand, okay, well, if there's good data and the market is moving today, well, then I'm looking for a trending environment. And then you'll drill down into number 4, your setup. That's when you'll look for your trend trading type of setups, and then it's just time to execute. Look for your setup to unfold. grade your setup, determine your sizing, wait for your order flow events, and execute and manage. So criteria for Bookmap Academy: 1 piece of journaling content markups per day. That's it, just one. And then we're looking for quality. So display these elements here up on the chart with callouts on your images. And then we're looking for some progression too, that you've really honed down and refined what you're looking for, and marking it up on the charts. Everything doesn't have to be a winner whatsoever. It's really about your progress. That's why we've seen a lot of traders go over their losers and what they did wrong to get really good feedback. Anyway, recommended to take one of these setups. You can start with one of these in here from that setups, supply and demand setups. You don't have to. You can take whatever you want. This might be a good starting point though, and build out 20 markups to build your playbook. If you do this, you are on your way to becoming an expert with your setup, and most likely you'll be making money. Anyway, let's move on. Let's jump into the coaches and look at some of your content, and invite you up on the stage. And let's see, we'll start with Jack. And Jack, you've got this guy here, which you're going to have to pronounce it again, or how you pronounce it.
I'm pretty sure it's Booyakasha, and nobody's going to tell me differently.
All right. And I don't know if he's in here or not.
I don't see him, but we can go over him real quick because it is a really good setup.
Okay. All right.
So Booyakasha, he's a trader from Tom B's lab, and he has a very, very good image from an overview, but there's a couple of quick hit critiques here that some of the newer traders might not realize. So we've got his context, we've got his label, we know exactly what he's going into, right? So his context is long. He's looking for his particular reasons. In this case, it was because we opened within balance. That's something that they specifically look for. Now you'll notice that he's not just looking at an actual range and then a breakout of a range. You can do that with any software. He's looking at the order flow. Specifically, he's looking at bullish order flow within the CVD down at the bottom. He's seeing the CVD, the line indicator as well, not just the volume bars. And he's looking and setting up for a pullback. Now, in this particular case, there was a couple of key standouts. We know that it was a winning trade, but I can't really tell where his entries and exits were initially. Like, making sure you highlight those a little bit better, because those triangles do get missed, right? Like, they just kind of blend into the background of noise. So kind of make sure you can do that. And then another one is, this is a 1 hour time slice from vertical to vertical, right? That dashed line that goes across from top to bottom. This is 1 hour. And within 1 hour, there is so much order flow typically that you really can't see some of the more nuanced things that might be better for an entry. This is great if you're looking at just a higher time frame and just taking a rip when it breaks out or something. Like, that's fine. But if you're actually like trying to make an order flow trade or something like that, you really should hone in on your entry, because that's where you can save a couple of ticks. And a couple of ticks is pretty big. If you could save a couple of ticks on your stop loss, that would be pretty awesome in general. Overall, really great setup. We're looking at specifically the overnight VPOC here. He's got a lot of context for his particular trade, but not being able to see that detailed information is really kind of a downside here. And if you're making a journal, it's something you want to avoid, right? When you come back to this image, you want to be able to see exactly what you did to get in and get out of the trade. And when you're looking at something within an hour, it might as well just be, okay, well, I took a breakout in the middle of the day, right? Like, it's a big difference. So focusing on those things in your journal would be crucial, in my opinion. But those are the bulk of the quick hits there.
All right. Vinny, jump in here, please.
Okay. All right. Yeah. I think first of all, that name is awesome. I'm not going to try to. That's it. I'll just call it Mr. B. And
yeah, I don't know if it's actually how he pronounces it, but that's how it is pronounced now.
Okay. Excellent. Okay, Jack. Yeah. Regarding his trade here, I mean, just looking at it really, really quick, you can kind of interpret maybe just a little bit regarding his. Looks like you have some higher lows here, okay, and like Jack mentioned, it is an hour time frame on his scale, so it may be a little challenging to try to interpolate that, but just looking at it real quick, visually, because you see these so many times. You can kind of maybe look at some higher lows here, maybe an inverse head and shoulders part of the way. I like his breakout, his trade that he, I'm assuming that was probably his entry. So right around 60.20 would be his entry. And it looks like that moved up really quick to his liquidity target, I'm assuming, which is right around 60.25 or 60.26. So he might have got about 5 points out of that. Like Jack said, this looks like a really good a setup. Bravo to him regarding that goes. And I'm not sure if he took this a little bit higher or if he did. We'd be curious to find out where his stop loss target was or his pullback. So those are
really
just
tough to tell his entries and his exits, right? And that's kind of like the key of a journal is being able to see those things.
Right. You're absolutely on target. Now I see his red box there. I don't know if that was another a pullback entry. But either way, if that was that would be 3 point stop loss there, and I'm assuming he probably would have 4 or 5, so he'd still be in that trade with that bounce. But yeah, so regarding the audience goes, this looks like like Jack mentioned, this looks like a very really nice little setup he has over here. And also his red rectangle has some buyers. He annotated that, I'm assuming, with his breakout trade. But otherwise, that's about it. And I'm going to toss it right back to Bruce.
All right. Thanks, Vinny. Yeah. I mean, I think, Boya Kasha is new in here. So, I agree with Jack that, it'd be great to see where you're trading from. But at this point, I think clean and clear markups and starting just to get to that point is good.
This is great from that standpoint. That's what I led off with, right?
Yeah. So it's looking great. And you can get to your trading, along the way here. But it's like what I mentioned earlier, like this kind of, there's like 3 steps in the process, basically. And this is like step 2. You're already in step 2. Step 1 is marking up everything, basically. You're new to Bookmap. You're looking at, high liquidity or, the volume dots and the price structure and looking at this context and maybe stops and whatever it is that you're looking at. Then you start to hone it down. This is the stage you're in. And then the next step after that would be entries, exits, and really kind of putting it all together. Checklists, all that kind of stuff, but beautiful markups here, and it's great to see.
You can definitely tell he's from the Trader Lab. If you've spent a lot of time in the Trader Lab, like you recognize the way that a lot of them, they typically have a similar style of where their cloud notes are, what they're looking for, the specific verbiage they use. So it was really great because I immediately pulled it up. And I'm like, oh, Trader Lab. Okay, so let's see what he's jumping into here. And like you said, it's a really great image all by itself. This is like the first time I've ever gone over one of his images. And to see a first image like this was pretty impressive because we typically don't see that, right? Like we either see everything marked up or just like, here's my entry, here's my exit, and that's pretty much it. And it's, a 400 pixel screenshot kind of thing, like it's super small or something. So this is a really, really great start. So yeah, this having just those complaints is pretty good for a good setting.
Yeah, absolutely. I
don't see him though in here if we want to go to the next guy.
Okay.
Because this is a great image. I would use this as an example image for anybody else. This is really solid. This is another one that's a really great example.
Hold on just
so
here.
No, it's okay.
Okay.
So fantasy here, a very similar kind of thing, right? We've got cloud notes on the right, and then we've got some context. In the top left, the way he does his context, instead of specific call outs like Trader Lab, what instrument it is, what his long bias was, he does it more paragraph outline style, which is completely fine. Whatever works best for you. And we can really see a couple of things here that he was looking at. Some of the things that really stood out, let me pull this up on my screen because it's harder to read there. So one of the things that he kind of led off with was he had a kind of bad set of days, or it was a bad set of trades. I don't remember exactly which. And because of that, it influenced this trade. And I wanted to say that you really should try to avoid that as best as possible, with one exception, and that's exiting the trade early while in profit and just getting out of the risk, right? You're your own boss in this, so you need to be accountable, and one of the ways you can be accountable is by following that rule. And that's what this ended up working out as. He had a series of bad trades, was profitable on this one, didn't want to let it continue working, and just got out of the trade. Again, completely fine, nothing wrong with that, but that's the only time I would do something like this, where I try to fish for a specific, I'm getting break even for the week, because that's really not how things should work. We have calendar days, the market doesn't. A Wednesday is no different than a Thursday, essentially. So try not to do those kinds of things. Other than that, this entry was really, really solid. He has a breakout, waits for a pullback, is in trend, and gets right where he needs to be on the VPOC move up. For his context, for support, he ends up with a VPOC moving higher, and then he's able to kind of trail his stop loss. Now, that's kind of where I would end with the overallness of it. One thing that I would recommend doing, fantasy, is instead of closing your trade the way you did in your situation, I would have made a trailing stop loss, because that's exactly what it should be used for. So when you have those kinds of feelings, you're winning, you don't want to just let it go and go to its target. You want to just kind of like trail it. So there's different settings you can use. Bookmap, I believe, has some. NinjaTrader has others, or you can literally just manually, as price is moving up, just trail behind it. Okay, there's nothing wrong with that. Those will typically give you more profit than you manually just panicking and getting out of it, right? So I would look at those two things, especially if you're having those emotional issues. There's nothing wrong with it. So the other thing, talk about your losers, man. If you feel comfortable about it, talk about your losers. If you don't feel comfortable talking about it in public, talk to one of the coaches. Vibe with one of them. There's like 7 of us. So just find somebody that you can jive with and you can talk to them about it, because there might be something in your losers that you're not seeing that we could help you with, that either might prevent you from losing as much, maybe prevent you from getting into a loser, right? There's a lot of different things, but if we don't see the content, we can't help coach, right? So it's all about what you're willing to give, and just let us know, okay? So don't let the emotions get too bad for you, man. Shit sucks. It's rough for everybody. That's what this job is. Other than that, though, I really, really liked the trade. I liked the way he was following the trend. I will say one of the only things that I kind of dislike about it is really just kind of the way the stops are managed and the way the profit taking is, even notwithstanding his particular critiques. But yeah, those are the big keys. Vinny, Bruce, who wants to go next?
Vinny, jump in.
Vinny's here. Okay. Yeah. Fantasy, this is a nice setup you have over here. You know, just real quick rundown. Hey, you have your checklist, which is awesome. You spoke about, you have your bullish overall analysis for the day, and so now you're looking for bullish setups, and this was one of them. And I could see you use your VWAP. Looks like that's part of your strategy is in your system. So you have a double bottom if you're using your VWAP over there, and then you took your long entry where your studies have led you to enter. I also like your target point, it's for that previous high. So it looks like, you have 3.5 points out of that, and you have your stop loss at 3.5. So that's your risk reward is 1.1. That's kind of
really was a lot higher. He moved that. That's where he took it out. Yeah. His initial was much higher.
Yes. I'm going to get to that. Yeah. Okay. And so he has 3.5 and 3.5. So that's a 1.1 risk reward. And that's kind of like the minimum you really kind of want. And like Jack had mentioned, his original target was much higher. And I'm not sure what the reasoning was for that, or
there was no context for it. There was no context for it. It was just that was their original target. Yeah. I don't know what that level was. I didn't see anything in the cloud notes with it. But yeah, it was an upper level. It was also beyond two very strong bands of liquidity. You can actually see those, Bruce, right around, I would think 60-30. Yeah. Trying to break through those. I don't know if I would have had that higher target. That seems pretty aggressive to me. I probably would have tried to be perfectly honest, I would have had multiple contracts. I'd have front run the first one. I'd have sat in the middle between both of them, and then I'd have had a reacher on the other end. And then that reacher, I would have ended up with a trailing stop just to see if we trended past it. I definitely wouldn't have had my final or my original profit target beyond both stages of liquidity, because those are pretty strong liquidity points overall. And just looking at the volume profile, it matches. So.
Yeah, I'm good. Yeah.
Okay.
Throw it right back to Bruce.
All right. Yeah, I agree with a lot of your guys' comments. Like, so I like the criteria for the entry, and this you got your VWAP, you got this the POC moving up, and we've got higher lows and higher highs. Not much, but some, and then you're looking for some strength. And
one of the other things that I was noticing kind of on the sell-offs there, Bruce, kind of like you mentioned your channel right there, both of those sell-offs that end up back at VWAP look like low volume sell-offs, right? Like low liquidity, and it just kind of melts down into the VWAP down there. Yeah, right in those areas. And those are great kind of sell-offs, right? Because all it is, the way I like to think of it, or I like to explain it, is bulls are on the gas at this time. They take their foot off the gas, and what immediately happens when you take your foot off the gas and you're going 75? You get that lurch where you kind of go forward real quick, and then like you put your foot back on the gas, and then it's not so bad, right? That's kind of the way I look at these. When not a lot of volume moves the index really quickly, it's typically going to be low liquidity, low volume kind of things. And then you can particularly get into a trend that might continue with them. So it's really, really great there from that concept. Yeah. Like you were saying, the entry is really solid.
Yeah. So entry is good. And I like Vinny was saying, you got your checklist, you got your setup, and the kind of overall bullish behavior here. And these days have been kind of like this, and we've seen other images from Fantasy about these kinds of grinding days, and you get in these nice trends actually. But I really like this target up here. It's up with the swing. There's liquidity there, and you're like, all right, I'm going to reduce some risk. I am anticipating some chop probably after this high liquidity transacts, and then I'm right there along with Jack, looking for, I don't know, a target maybe somewhere in one of these areas up in here, because this is high liquidity. And after trading into high liquidity, especially in an uptrend that's just kind of grinding like this, then consider or look into it, do some back testing, getting out, because this is a pretty nice move here, and pop up through here. And
not just is there the liquidity there, but on the left-hand side, we have the CVP and the SVP. We have both session and chart. And we can see like we're getting good interaction when we get to those levels before. And that's that's pretty good. Like we don't typically see or have that, right? Like so that's something that really matters. Not just liquidity, but when liquidity interacts. So yeah, it was great. I agree with you totally.
Yeah. So I don't know. Look into that, because like, what do we? I mean, we see it time and again. When we trade into really high liquidity, typically we get chop, or we get a pullback, or we get a reversal, or something. I mean, sometimes you get this really strong move like this, and it just kind of goes like this, and then maybe you get a flip of the order book, and then it just goes strong again. I mean, that happens too, but rarely does it just go like this and then can continue on. So this is a good place to maybe manage as well. And then your take profit on the trail. I find these kinds of days kind of difficult. Fantasy, you're pretty good at these. So these grinding moves like this, and then I don't know, has it come to an end? But I also see volume starting to pick up again, and all it does is take this out here or hit this level of liquidity here, and that's right where your stop is, right below here. So on these kinds of days in here, I don't know, look into it. Maybe it's something like you see something like this, you start to see that break, and you're like, okay, I'm going to get out here. I can always get back in.
I agree. That's where I would have gotten out if I was worried, because he mentioned that he was concerned about the profit. And once you start making that lower low, I agree completely, right? Where you're saying, once we break that neck again, I'm out, because that's what I'm looking for, right? And that's a big difference in profit. What is that?
24 to 28. Points? Yeah, it's like 4 points.
Yeah, I mean, that's a big difference if you're using big contracts. So and again, it's that same structure, right? Like one of the great things about Bookmap is instead of using like a 2-minute or a 5-minute aggregate candle, and you're looking at bottoms there, right here, we can see where the actual liquidity is transacting within that 15-minute candle. So we can see that, okay, we're forming a lower low, then another lower low, and then now we're breaking down all the way back to VPOC, and then we break further back down, right? There was a couple of opportunities that he could have either trailed the profit higher or got out at a better or more optimal one, versus like I mentioned during my little rant there, the panic kind of thing. Panic almost never wins. I like that you thought to manage it. That's great. Lean in those instincts. Just learn to manage it better, right? Because that's where you're going to save your money now.
Yeah, and I would agree, especially in these kinds of grinding trends like this. And
I didn't have the context where he's been having some of these really great trends. That also I would have leaned more into kind of talking about and saying exactly, hey, trail your runners, don't get out. Like you're in the trend, just trail it now. So yeah, I totally agree.
Yeah, I mean, look at these pullbacks, like in some of these areas in here. They're pretty deep,
Yeah,
but
they're consistent too, which is great. That means that the liquidity is there supporting it, right? Like people are stepping in, and we can see the little stair step pattern there starting to form, right? So yeah, it's just one of those things that I love being aware of what your emotions are. I think that that's a huge important thing, because we're all different, right? Emotions don't necessarily affect me during trading, but they do affect others, and I get that. But not just being aware of them, making good decisions when you're aware of them is the next step. It's got to be your most crucial step, especially if you're afraid of losing money. If you're afraid of losing money, that's how you're going to save money, and that's how you're just going to make better trades.
All right. So, any other?
Those are the two I had, though.
Okay. All right. So let's move on. Vinny, what do you got here? Hold on, I'll bring up your file.
Right. I have Scoot Squeak.
Scoot Squeak. Okay.
Squeak Scoot?
Scoot Squeak.
Scoot?
Oh yeah. Okay, I see it. Here we go.
Great name. I was going to ask him how we got that name, but
there's CMJ right below it. CMJ's in the chat.
Yes, yeah, we can go ahead and it's up to you, Bruce, if you want to go with CMG first or you want to go through Scoot Squeak.
Yeah, let's
Whatever
get
you
some
feel
guys
like.
up on the stage here. This is what it's all
Sure.
about. Listen to what you guys have to say, and then
By the way,
you
welcome back,
know,
CMJ.
yeah, and then
C-
we're just here to give you feedback.
CMJ, okay.
So yeah, you're invited up to the stage, CMJ, if you like. Please get
Yeah.
your
I mean,
mics ready, guys.
yeah,
He's
that's
on
okay.
he's on
CMJ.
a
Say when you
work
want.
call. Okay, why don't
He's
we
at a
go
work
through
call.
Scoot then, and maybe
Go
he'll
through
be
Scoot.
freed up for a
No, no worries.
Sure.
yeah, yeah. Okay, Scoot Squeak.
Yes, Scoot Squeak. Okay. Yes, I actually had my files deleted, but I went through this as quick as I can because I thought it was just a very educational trade that he has posted here. The good part is, it was a profitable trade. Bravo. And one thing we want to look at is a checklist. So that would be one thing. And also, I wanted to ask him, what made him enter? Was it a breakout? Did he have a stop in place? And did he exit? And did he leave some of it left on to go a little higher? I wasn't really sure on that one. So that was my next question. That he did this trade, looks like on the NQs. But what I really like how he went and managed this trade would be I annotated on the bottom right here. He had a trend break. It looks like it was a double bottom, and then he had his breakout, and that would be a really good entry point. All right, then he had some resistance above, and it looks like his target was about 34 points, which was just a great trade for him here. And so those are some of my questions that I did have for him. Where did he enter the trade? It looks like his entry was about 4 lots there at about 21,475 or in that neighborhood, and he took his profit all the way up at about 25.50. But when I was looking at some of his write-ups, looks like I think he took it out at 21,511. So I wanted to get a little bit more specific on him, but otherwise, I thought this was a great setup. Just to summarize it, he had his trend break, a double bottom, he had the breakout, he had his entry, and then boom, he's got himself a few dozen points here. So yeah, that was a nice setup. And let's throw it back to Jack. Jack, do you have any follow up on this?
So I mean, it's kind of the same thing with a lot of the newer traders. This is just something we see in general. It's that it's incredibly zoomed out. Like we're looking at hour intervals here, and we're looking at 25 handles within NQ. This is very, very difficult when you're making an order flow trade, right? The only thing that you would need Bookmap for in this particular trade, if you're doing it this way, is literally seeing the liquidity target where the red bar is, where his take profit is. That's all that Bookmap is functioning here, and I think you're kind of just wasting some of the value. There's a lot of ways you can look to take a better entry. We just saw fantasy just a second ago. See how much more information we had. We noticed VPOC moving up. We could see the CVP, this SVP, the chart volume profile, the session volume profile. We could see VWAP much more clearly. We could see the way the order flow was reacting, not just within the overall time frame, but that scrolling window of time frame. We can see that we had lower lows setting up, and that would have prevented more loss on our, kind of panicky stop loss there. So make sure we're zooming in to the context of the entries and the exits, because you don't take an entry or an exit just by slamming the buy button on the 4-hour window or on the 4-hour candle. If you do, you're not using Bookmap, you're just using a chart. So use the context well, and that's really kind of where you should dive into. I like the target, but I can't tell anything more than there's just high liquidity there, and that's not enough for me personally.
Yeah, well said. Not only with limiting your losses, but also increasing your gains. And let's throw it back to Bruce.
Yeah, Jack pretty much nailed it. That's exactly what I was thinking when I looked at this. Is like you're not getting too much out of Bookmap, and like this setup in here is, it looks a lot like the setup that we
trend lines
covered in
some
here in the supply and demand course. But here's the difference, though. Look at the demand here getting filled on the bid. Okay, and then we see basically we see a flush through here, and then we see the buyers starting to come in after kind of a structural break. So what I'm saying here is look for the accumulation passively in Bookmap, then look for the aggressive accumulation by the green volume dots in this case. And then I think you can add that to this view here on your candlestick, and I think you're going to get a lot more out of it.
Yeah, I would start there for sure. As far as like, if you're already a trader and then you're adding Bookmap, this is a very common way to run into this. There's nothing wrong with it. There's also other traders as well, right? So you come from chart trading in general, but maybe you use footprint, right? Now, those guys are going to be more in the weeds. In fact, I have to tell them to zoom out because they're looking at seconds. And it's like, well, with Bookmap, we really don't need to have that eye fatigue. We can actually zoom out a little. But with a lot of newer traders that are just coming from like standard chart trading or, supply and resistance kind of zones or something like that, and they move to this, we have similar things. The selling point of Bookmap is the liquidity on the surface. But if you're an order flow trader or you want to get into the world of order flow trading, you got to get into the 5-minute interval, the 10-minute interval, and you really got to start seeing how those trends set up, how the accumulation patterns work. And that's how you start building that playbook that you mentioned at the beginning, right? So it's a constant kind of learning process. I promise you one thing. I've been doing this stuff for 10 years, well, almost 11 now, and I still learn stuff. So there's never a point where you're going to know it all. You're going to constantly be evolving. I'm not saying you're going to constantly be changing indicators or anything, but there's different areas of the market to learn, right? I spent all of last year working on bonds and basis. This year, I'm working on a little bit of volatility and a little bit of different modeling stuff. So you're always a learner in this market. And that's kind of the purpose of the journal and kind of why we hamper on these, like, be more detailed, get more in the weeds of what you're trying to do. And another big reason is when you come back to this 6 months ago, all of that education you gained over that 6 months, you're going to see trades you missed. You're going to see trades you shouldn't have taken based on your understanding of the markets now. You're going to see all of those things, but you won't see them if this is your journal image. You need to get some of the detail in there, even if it's multiple images. And that's why we harp on this so much, because it is a lifelong process. If you're going to be here a while, you're going to learn forever. So let's get you started on the right path kind of thing. So anyway, I hope that adds a little bit more context there.
Well said, Jack. Yes, it's exactly what Bruce also mentioned. The new supply and demand video, the MBO package is available as well. And then you can develop your playbook of assets. You can throw in your CBD VPI, your DOM, regular trading hours, etc. So yeah, well said, gentlemen.
Vinny, I mean, Scoot Squeak is new. We haven't seen. I haven't seen anything from him before.
No, and there's nothing wrong with being new. Yeah, this is where I expect people to start a lot of times.
Yeah, so
this is better than Shark Blue, right?
It's good. It's good that you did something. Thank you.
Definitely.
But I just want to shout out to Vinny. Holy cow! Look at the coach here coming in and saying, like, here's your checklist. Here, what are you looking for? Questioning each one of your things in here. This is really good coaching, and just take a step back and look at that and look at this. Some of the things like we talk about in the checklist, and look at other people's content in the Bookmap Academy Discord room, and you'll start adding these things in, then you will have a much, much stronger setup for yourself. All right.
Bravo.
Any other last comments, or we move on here?
No, I think that's it for that one.
Okay.
I'm ready for CMJ if
All
he's
right.
available.
I don't know if CMJ is off his call.
He might be busy.
This
We
is
can
hand
swing
up, I
back.
think.
I invited him up.
added him.
I invited him up, so I'm not sure if he's still available or not. I don't know how to uninvite somebody.
That's fine.
Anyway, let us know, CMJ, when you're ready, and maybe we'll try to go.
We'll come back to him.
Yeah, we'll come back, I think.
Okay.
All right, and let's see here. Moby, Western Australia, and can never make it to these, but always does a great job and posts his Notion file. So super solid from Moby. Trading is life. It's been a while, so welcome back, and let's add you to the stage here. All right. You are muted for the moment. You're self-muted, I believe.
Hello?
Hey, there you are.
Hey, it's been a while, yeah.
Welcome back. So why don't you, since Moby's not here and you've got your chart here, why don't you walk us through, and then we can give you some feedback.
Sure. As you see, as you stated, Bruce, I started having my checklist, which I numbered them as I was going through it. As you see that the price, I needed to give you guys more to see more. The price went down. Then it started to accumulate. I'm really trying to gravitate to accumulation trend line break. I'm really focusing on that. So all my entries been that as well, as far as my VWAP trade. But as you can see, it accumulated, and I looked at, then it broke the trend line, and then once it broke, it went below the VWAP. So I figured my VWAP would be my support. So I entered right after the VWAP, which was also a lot. And you can see the indicator on the CVD took a dive as well, which I targeted my next liquidity area as my exit. So I had that there, but then it went past it. Then I targeted the next liquidity area, where it showed exhaustion, kind of into another accumulation. So I kind of exit right there. So that was my thought process on that. Once I saw the large volume that was above normal, I knew it was gonna go down some more. So I just entered there.
Yeah, great stuff. So I don't know, Jack or Vinny, someone jump in. Oh, it looks like Jack is on mute. Why don't you? Oh, there he is. There he is.
There he is. There's the expert.
Yeah, so this is a really good short. First and foremost, one of the things that you learn when you're a VWAP trader, like if you're going in VWAP strategy, you don't short above VWAP and you don't long below VWAP. And this is great because right as soon as you break VWAP, you're looking at it exactly like you would expect in those kinds of strategies. You're looking at it for being an upper bound of resistance. So you have that working for you. You've got your trend line break. Again, great. Like when you see those kinds of things, I agree. Like you're getting your accumulation and you're setting up. This is a really, really great short entry trade under those contexts. The only thing I would say in general is for your journal, and this is very, very specific for you. This looks like a cropped image. I would get more image for your journal. Make sure that you can see more of your context here. If it's a recent trade, it does look like it was recent. It was yesterday. I would even pull up your replay if you have it and go back and grab this one and then maybe look at some of the other microstructure. But this is great. This is exactly what I would be looking for. The one thing I would be worried about in general, looks like right at the open. I would be careful with volume at the open. You could get shook out. I'm an open trader, so I understand it and I love it, but it is a volatile thing sometimes. So other than that, I really, really like all of the things that I see here. And those are the only two like minor warnings I would have. Great job. I remember covering your first trade when you came to Bookmap. This is not your first trade. This is a great job, dude. Really, really good work.
Yeah, this is a testimony to you guys. I mean, I'm following you. I'm here every Thursday. I go to All Market with Bruce. So thank you. This is just testimony of me just coming in and listening and paying attention to what you guys are saying.
Really appreciate it. Vinny, you got anything, buddy?
Yeah, Traders for Life. Yes, nice growth for sure. And I like the way you annotated on your chart here the use of the CBD BPI part of the MBO package in your subchart. That was to an extreme. You talked about your trend line break, and I think Jack mentioned would have liked to seen maybe a little bit more to the left. Was this consolidating? But you use your VWAP as your break of VWAP for entry. You had your target of about 5 points. I'm assuming you had a stop loss right around 2, which would be above the VWAP. And yeah. So that was a good one. And I just one last thing. I see that you probably not only used the liquidity as a target, but you were probably looking at again at your subchart because the CBD VPI went to another extreme, similar to what I think Shark Blue sometimes talks about as well in his own charts. So So otherwise, bravo to you. Good setup.
Yeah, I was looking for a continuation because once they absorbed the first liquidity area, I thought it was going to keep going. Then once I saw that it kind of bounced, it kind of paused right there, and that's when I knew I exited the trade.
Now, did you take all of it out, or did you just leave some of it on?
No, I took it all out.
Oh, you did take it all out. Okay, so you took it all out right at the initial target of 60.45. Is that right? So you didn't leave anything on, maybe to the next for it to go lower like you initially thought?
No, because I thought it would have been too much resistance. It had the first resistance, then when it didn't do it didn't continue. I didn't want to give anything back. Like Jack was saying, he's so volatile. I didn't want it to shoot right back up on me and give me back, and I lose all the gains. So I just got out.
Yeah, that's another good point that Jack mentioned. You're right, Traders for Life. Yeah, right at the open. Yeah, we do get it does fluctuate quite a bit at times, doesn't it?
Yeah, and this is a pretty good exit just in general. Not even looking at like obviously he bottom ticked it, but like there's a lot here. He got a strong flush right after entry. That means immediately after where he was supposed to be like entering, he got a bigger move than he probably was expecting.
Definitely did.
Yeah, so at that point, he immediately filled that liquidity right below. I would probably be looking to partial, because I usually run multiple contracts, right? So I would partial right there and then consider adding back if we got more support from VWAP pushing us lower. But other than that, I think that just that flush down, filling the liquidity, getting it faster than you want, I take profits almost every single time there. So I totally agree.
Yeah, it's a matter of just building confidence now, like, understanding your trade and knowing that your confidence. So that's what I'm working on. And I have spoke to Bruce when he was doing his market live. It's like more risk management, because one bad day I'll give back all my days of earnings, and then I start revenge trading, and then it's just a downhill from that. So I was trying to avoid
those are the things you want to avoid, right?
Yeah.
No, there's a lot of other things.
That.
Yeah, there's a lot of other things. Remember I said with I think it was with fantasy, there's nothing wrong with getting out of a trade when you want to get out of it, right? Don't extend your profits, but if you're profitable and you just want to get out of the trade because you're kind of like a little stressed or a little worried about it, that's a great setting, because you're addressing the things that you need to be addressing, because you're going to get to a point in your trading career, and this is going to happen. If you continue trading, it will happen, where you have to make a decision about whether you stay in a trade or exit a trade And you need to be able to trust yourself. And that only comes with repetitions by making consistent trades, reducing your risk, taking profits, understanding what you're doing, understanding yourself, understanding your emotions, and growing as a trader. It's not just staring at chart patterns, because if it was, everything would literally be an algo, right? But there's a lot more to it. And once you can start quantifying that risk to yourself, things become a lot easier. So yeah, this is a really great exit in my opinion.
You know, that's also, I'm sorry, go ahead. No, I was just going to say that, yeah, just to add on to Jack, awesome comments. You did mention about, you know, you have several good days, but maybe on one day you give it all back for the week. You know, one thing to also to consider is maybe setting up a daily loss limit, like, you know, so you won't give it all back in a day, you know, maybe just, you know, maybe that's something to be considered as well, if that makes sense.
Trading's Life, you're on mute again somehow. Oh, there you are.
Brilliant.
Yes, that made perfect sense, Vinny. I heard you.
Copy that.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, I totally agree about, like, you know, I mean, what I see here, like, the things that Jack had mentioned about being able to see over here would be really great. Again, like that trend line break and, you know, accumulation. I mean, one of the actually the key, the structural break and trend line is not that it's not really it doesn't really have much to do of it being a trend line. It's a structural break that matters. And what really matters, there's like kind of three main components here. The one really important component is that passive accumulation, and then some sort of structural break, and then the aggressive accumulation, and that's the magic in the setup. And then here, it's, I mean, I don't know if that's here or not. I can't see it, but it's one heck of a momentum trade at the open. And there usually is a lot of momentum at the open. Anyway, you nailed it. You saw it, you recognize it, you go, whoa, this is going, this is moving. I'm going to jump in, go for a ride, take it down to the next liquidity level. It went through it, so you notice that, and then you notice some of these other things in here. You exit. You just built your confidence. So yeah, way to go. All in, all out. Look for the next. And then you can get into, you know, multi-contract and all these other things, later. But if you continue to go through this kind of cycle, and this is not just you, Trading's Life, anybody, like, of like, wow, I'm doing okay, and then I lose it all, or I, you know, have a meltdown or something, and then you have maybe you lost your confidence, and you're not being objective anymore. Then, you know, you start just trading out of you're not being objective with your setup. Here you have some setups, you have your idea for your targets, and you know, your entry as well. Beautiful. Repeat.
Yeah, because once I start, my emotions starts getting into play, and then it's not trading anymore. It's more like gambling, because I see things that I don't really see. I start forcing things, and before you know it, I done lost all week's gain, or accounts got liquidated. So I was trying to avoid all of that.
Yeah. And you know, you get a handful of trades like this, and you start to create some habits, and you start to trust it. You know, you can just those other things will kind of wash away. You know, you'll do less of it, and then you'll catch yourself when you're doing it, and you go, I don't want to do that. You know, and this is not the setup I'm looking for. Let's suppose you got a big, let's suppose there's a big green dot in the middle here or something, right in here. Price kind of went sideways for a little bit, and then another green dot back up above it. Just get out. It's not worth it. It can do this very easily and come up to here. I think you know what I mean. But one of the things like you noticed immediately here is this outsized volume. Of course, it is the open, but it's moving. It's volume and it's moving. It's a beautiful momentum trade right into high liquidity and then some. So yeah, yep. Way to go.
Thank you guys. Thank you, Vinny. Thank you, Jack.
All right.
You're welcome.
Let's see here. Oh, we got another one for you, I think. Is this yours, Trading is Life?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right. It's been a while, so let's go over it.
We're not done yet with him yet.
Yeah. Exactly. Why don't you walk us through, and then we'll give some feedback.
Well, this one was the one I've been doing, my specialty. This was a VWAP trade where I used the VWAP as my target. As you can see, price accumulated, and then once price went above with the strong volume, that's when I entered a long position, targeting VWAP as my entrance, which exit, which it made it, because as you can.
Well, we lost you there for a minute. So, we don't hear you anymore. Trading's Life.
Hello.
There you are.
Yeah, I keep going. I guess the signal's back. Keep going in and out. Yeah, like I was saying, I entered a long position right after the accumulation with the strong volume dot. Right where it broke, as you can see, the accumulation, it broke it and went back, and then it kind of just took off. And once I saw the volume dots, then I knew it was going to reach the VWAP.
Yeah, nice. So look, you really are looking at the momentum moves up into your liquidity and your targets.
Yes, yeah. That's one of the things that I really pay attention to.
Yeah. Let's see, Vinny, what do you have to say?
Yeah, I mean, again, Repeatable Life is really good. I read Moby's also comments. He really likes your consistency and you developing your niche. He mentioned, and I have to concur with what Moby's write-up is as well. His comments. Again, I could see that you just to go off of what you said. Your big green dots. Also the volume bar as well. Looks like you got some strong buying coming in there with some could be some institutional buyer coming in and he's buying it up real quick. But you have your setup again, your niche, and your target is right to the liquidity. So excellent, way to go.
Yeah, the one thing I need to I kind of felt I got in this trade a little bit too early. As you can see, it kind of pulled back a little bit. I need to again right now. My main focus is controlling my emotions, because once it broke the trend line, then you see it went back. It pulled back, then it went again. And actually, I thought this was going to be a losing trade. Then I put my stop loss right below the trend line, which it didn't go below it. It started moving up with large volume, with above normal volume. And if you can see, that's when I moved my stop loss and I placed it right above the VWAP. And I kind of manually trailed it. So once I saw the large volume dots, and then I saw the large volumes was coming in. So right there, I was just focusing on it to reaching the VWAP and getting out the trade.
Yeah, and just to talk, you can also see your orders being pulled higher. Looks like,
Yeah,
yeah. So that was another conviction for you. I'm assuming you consider that as well.
yeah. As you can see, the heavy liquidity right above the VWAP. So I know if it was gonna bounce right back down.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry. I meant below that. You
Yeah,
had your liquidity below that, and then it looks like the orders were pulling higher.
yeah,
Um, you know what I mean? So it was bottom left.
yeah. Because once I saw the large volume dots, I knew I kind of had conviction that it was gonna
Sure.
continue to go up. It's because you can see your DVD kind of was still in an
Extreme. Yeah.
upward, and then look at your delta. The delta was up as well. Was buying delta.
Sure.
So I kind of had conviction that it's gonna go up, and that's why I was manually trailing it because I was gonna. As soon as it gave me any indication it was gonna go back down, I would have got out that trade. But it just kept going, and I was able to achieve the target.
Well done with the use of the assets. Outstanding.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, trading is life. I have just kind of the same comments as previous image. It would be really great to see more on the left hand side here, and then I think if you look for, I mentioned it again here, but really look for this because I think you'll find that if you get this kind of passive accumulation in these areas in here, this momentum move here just rips, and it's you look for those volume dots, and you'll probably more likely get a stronger move. If it's just volume, aggressive volume, it might not. It just kind of usually peters out a little bit, kind of like this in here in the middle, and then maybe it has to come all the way back down here again to find buyers to reach back up here. And if there's not that passive accumulation, it's just like it kind of meanders, and just keep an eye out for that because when these transactions occur into high liquidity, like up in here, typically this is kind of the beginning stages to look for. Now, I don't know. This is super strong buying, so maybe it just blasted through here up to 08, up to 12. Sometimes that happens, but typically after the high liquidity transaction here, you get some sort of sideways action, reversal, or pause, or something before buyers come back in, if they do come back in. But anyway, that would be my on both of these images, my biggest I think most helpful feedback would be to look for those things, because you like the momentum move, great, and you're reading it really well, great. Just look for some passive accumulation before.
Got it.
Yeah. Vinny, any last minute remarks here?
No, I would reach out to for a little help from 911 David, but he's not here. But Bruce, you picked up everything, so nothing more to said. Great job, Bruce.
Let's see. We got another one for you. We got a bunch in here for you. So let's take a quick look, and another momentum move right here, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So so you're looking at your VWAP through VWAP, and then you entered short in here. You added on so kind of low volume pullback, and then exhaustion, like you said, and then you're looking for more selling in here. Then you're looking for that flush through, or that momentum move here.
Yeah. This is just basically me working on building confidence and working on my mental. Once I saw that I added, then I saw it went back, and then the exhaustion, and then I also knew that my VWAP would have been used as a resistance. So I just entered another contract because I kind of figured with I saw the CVD took a dive, and I saw my delta was starting to grow as well, showing that more sellers was willing to push price lower. So that's when I entered a second position.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, you're really honing your strategy here, your setup.
Yes.
So Vinny, any comments here?
Yeah. I mean, I like the way you have your time scale set up also at 5 minutes, because it allows me to take a look, a lot closer to your pattern here. And yeah, on the top left where you talked about trading for life, and you have some passive orders absorbed there, and I see where you entered. And now we're able to see where we have this pullback now toward where those passive orders were absorbed. So that could be considered an entry point. And I see your VWAP is a little bit higher than that, but I'm sure either or would be fine. And then you just took it right down to your liquidity, just below that. So it looks like there's going to be at least, maybe 5 or 6 points that you got out of that, at least from the initial liquidity. But yeah, so otherwise, yeah, you have, again, you use your CVD VPI in the subchart. And I read Moby's comments. He did talk about, he said that he would like to see more accumulation in this trade. So I think Bruce mentioned this earlier. Maybe we can see a little bit more to the left next time, and see even better your structural setup. And if that makes sense as well. But otherwise, that's it. Mr. Bruce.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, let's move on. Yeah, thanks, Trading is Life. And we'll let's see here. We're kind of thin on the coaches, but I've got a few things to go through. And let me bring up Steven. And let's bring Stephen up to the stage here. So, about a minute. And CMJ, I don't know if you're quite ready yet, but you're on. We've got you on hold, basically. Oh, you will not. Okay, you're just saying you won't be able to. Okay, no problem. So Stephen, get your mic all set, Stephen, and come on down.
Hello?
Yes.
Okay, good.
Hey.
Hello, everyone.
Steven.
So we got a few here from you.
A while back.
Last week. Anyway, let's see. Why don't you kind of take us through here, if you remember the trade and what you're looking for, and we'll kind of piece it together here. Is this it, or was here's the trade here? Here is a trade here, maybe we start with this one here and start to go through it. And nice checklist. You're kind of notating. It's not so much a checklist, it looks like to me, but like a little bit.
Yeah, I've changed it up a bit. I don't know if you guys have noticed.
Yeah.
Trying to get rid of the clutter.
Yeah.
I got influenced a little bit by John. I quite like his charts as well, but his layout, what I notice, it's making me focus more on order flow. So I would say it's a checklist. It's
Okay.
evolving. It's still not so fluid. So it's like it takes me quite a while to spot these levels. But basically, I was just taking a long position. I think we opened, we sold off. The sellers, if you look at the previous slide, you'll see sellers trading into some liquidity on the bid. They exhaust. The POC was shifting down, and then you see price break above it and retest it. And then if you look at the delta bars, the green bars at the bottom, on that pullback, and then that was just my cue. Okay, well, yeah, this could be a long. If you go to the next slide, you will see my reasoning, and it's clear on the top there. We've got liquidity on the offer, and you can see where I put my target 1 and target 2, front running the liquidity. Yeah, it actually played out nicely, and if I'm not mistaken, it's a pity we don't have John in here, or do we?
No,
it's very similar.
He's taking some time off for some personal reasons.
Oh, okay. No, well, I appreciate his feedback. He's actually a very good trader. Like he's transparent, and he's so simple about it. So exactly. I've been influenced by him by a bit. But if I'm not mistaken, I got stopped out on my first trade. And then my second entry, I was, that happens a lot to me. Looks like I got stopped out twice, maybe. That happens a lot where I have the trade idea to go long, and it'll just come, liquidity grab, take your stops out, and then go without you. So I was like, well, my thesis is still there, and let's get long. But this was a sim trade. This wasn't on a live account, but the nice thing is, your order flow concepts that you teach also play out. We're targeting high liquidity for targets, and that's what I did. And then I had a second runner. Well, I was quite conservative, but if you look at point number 9, I did see some liquidity coming into the book on the offer higher up. So that could have been if I had multiple targets. So this is this is me tracking my playbook. And then obviously I've got some levels that I find interesting. Like for example, the VHVN levels that Tom teaches. So those were previous high volume nodes when the market opened and it sold off. So you could look for targets there, but I didn't take targets there, but you can see target 1 kind of lines up in that area. If you look at point 4, you can see on the SVP column some trapped sellers. I think that's trapped sellers. Would you say that, Bruce?
Yeah, I would. It's down below the swing, stopping everybody out. I do not see liquidity down here, so I don't think it's really a liquidity grab, but I would say it's a stop run. You see 165, 208, 246, 249. So quite a few stops being triggered down here. And it keeps pushing. It gets one of yours, but you jump right back in after. I don't know if you had enough. Was it this volume here, or I don't know what it was that kind of kicked off the.
I was watching the dome, so I noticed like, okay, I could see them coming in, but you don't really see it there on the delta bars. But if you look on my previous slide, you do see some stop run. Nothing serious. You can see the 200, 165.
On this one here, is this right?
More 10, 30, 10 something. You can see it. Well, you can see I've got a circle showing the buying, the buy ice on the subchart. But before the subchart, you can see on the subchart the stop run, but it's not major. It's not big compared to the one before 10:30. I don't know if we could if we could focus on that
Hmm.
as something. But I was mainly focused on buy volume is what I'm marking here. And then you can see the one on the far right, close to 11:30. I'm showing the stop run to the upside. So that's most likely the open where the shorts came in and now they're getting taken out. And then right on top there, 60.50, I noticed liquidity being pulled. So yeah, I'm just noting it. I'm not sure why, but I think it could be valuable much later in the game.
Hmm.
When I look back, like Jack says, I've been in a couple situations. I wish I had documented more when I do look at something like 1 or 2 years back.
Hmm. Yeah.
But I'm curious on. Well, I wish John was here to give me some feedback because he says my charts are a bit busy.
Yeah. I don't know. Why don't we'll let Vinny give some feedback here?
Yeah, Steven. Yeah, it looks like you unbusied your charts.
What's that?
Good one. Okay. Yeah. I saw your trade initially. You know what, Bruce, if you don't mind going back to the other slide that you had. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, that one. When I was first looking at this, I wanted to see what it looked like to the left, which you did have. And you know what? I might have got stopped out with this as well. I might have taken the trade with that structural break, and that's what happens sometimes. It happened to me today when I took a trade and I had to get back into it. My stop was taken out, but I got back in because the structure still remained intact, and that's what you have here. So I like the way you went ahead and have your checklists all to the top left, which is terrific. And again, I was just. Maybe you can go over a little clarify to me a little bit more how and why and when you entered where you did right here. But as far as your targets go, yeah, I mean, this is, the liquidity is right there. So you can just target that one. Like you have your number 7, which is awesome. Now, I would look at this as, again, like it could be an inverse head and shoulders here developing to the right of your number 7. Which could, be indicative of a possible continuation higher, and certainly that's just what happened. You got your buys coming in with your volume down below, and then you had your levels of liquidity still above your initial target. So that would keep me a situation where that this thing could go even higher, which it did in this instance. So bravo to you, and I wanted to switch back and maybe you can clarify a little bit more specifically regarding your entries at 1, 2, and I see where your stop loss is, if you don't mind. And yeah, can you just go over that again for me, please?
Well, my stop is usually a 3-point static stop. Preferably, I would like to get below structure. I think this one was in the 3, and I think that's just part of the game. You will get taken out. I do sometimes am flexible and I'll maybe allow like up to 4 or 5 points, but generally I would like to keep it around 3, and then if it does permit, I will shrink it lower to like 2, just in case it does come back. But I do like my long targets, and I'm sure anyone that knows me, I'm quite greedy in that sense. I go for these long targets, but this one is clear as day. You've got that high liquidity on the offer. But your question was my entry. I think maybe you guys would want more conviction, and we don't quite see it here. It could maybe be. I'm trying to think now. I probably didn't add it in here, but like, when you zoom out, it aggregates the data, so it will be a lot darker. So right now we don't see why I got in, but what I'm generally looking for is, some sort of like absorption. Well, not absorption, but like a consolidation. And if we looked at that section where I identified the trap sellers, if you're not zoomed in, you can well, we we don't have an example here, but what I'm looking for is the sellers to get, you know, what's the word?
Squeezed.
There's a term that squeezed, but there's a term that very technical term that Tom uses. The bus going driving over them, but I think he says it another way. I can't remember right now. But that's what I'm looking for, and so I'm after that, and it actually played out. But you can see, obviously, I took a stop, but then eventually it did work out. So that was kind of the thesis here. But you can also see there were sellers, but they didn't get anywhere, and that's what I was playing, which was pretty cool, because I'm like, you know, before it's more trend lines set up, and I'm trying to really depend on the order flow. So because, you know, I hear all the good traders talking on Bookmap Academy, and the guys that are on the order flow concepts are definitely using Bookmap to its fullest, and you know, Bruce preaches it, you know, all the good coaches preach it, you know, so that's why you're seeing the shift. So I don't know, I guess I think I'm evolving, so I'm quite happy with
so you're using the CVP on the DOM, is that correct, for the trap sellers?
Yeah, it's a mixture of everything, you know. I've got it on my screens, and then but the DOM gives you a read on the tape, like, you know, how well the seller. It's still kind of alien to me, but it's coming along.
No, that's good. You know, that's something that we all can, you know, keep aware of in the future. So yeah, thank you for sharing that.
Sure.
Yeah, Stephen. Like, God, I got a whole host of things to give some feedback on. But first off, like, man, I really appreciate like your diligence. You are, you know, listening to previous feedback, and then trying to simplify things and make it easier for yourself, and hone it down into more of the kernel or the essence of the setup. And that's where I think that's where you start to know exactly what you're doing in terms of your setup, and you become an expert in it. You've made it yours, and then you're basically just taking stuff off the chart, and you're working toward that. Your exits here are excellent. So I really like your exits in the way they're using the high liquidity as a target. You're also noticing the trap traders, like you'd said here. The image is kind of a hard read for me with the setup. Hold on. So, well, first off, there's a whole bunch of volatility in here, right? And we haven't really talked about that. What's actually happening in here, and then you're getting in after that. So I don't know what kind of news-driven thing, or you know, something that happened here, but it definitely is moving, and you know, it's calming down for your trade, but that's I don't know, it's just something to note. Do you want to trade in that environment? Like the number one item was the impetus on the in the market. What's moving the market? So you know, is it bearish? Is it bullish? How are traders reacting to it? And I think you'll find that to be might be helpful to help guide you along. And then in terms of your setup in here, there's a bunch of things that are really nice. Let's see, this is where you entered, is right up here. Is that right? Yeah, it says entered long.
Yes.
Okay. Because all of this, all that kind of volatility looks like it kind of happened right in here. But you've got some really nice things on this move down. Here's the cash open, high liquidity getting filled down in here. lot of clusters of buying and pretty aggressive buying after that high liquidity gets filled down here. However, it's just not ready yet. We get another move down. This is actually pretty common, I think, in after the open or after a big event or something, and you get one more move back down. But again, it's like, it's hard to see in here about what got filled and what didn't in these areas in here. But then those aggressive buyers come back in again. So now like, the sellers tried down here. We see buyers actually getting filled. We see a cluster of buyers in here. And then you start to see that buying again here. And that's when we're looking for the move. And then you got on a pullback here. And then like a little double bottom kind of thing happening here. And then you got on this momentum and move to the upside. So it's a pullback, more or less. And it's let's see, is it a low volume pullback? Let's just take a quick look here, because you got in here, and yeah, I mean, you can see some of that selling in here, but you got the low volume pullback in here. Just by looking at the chart, though, to me it looks like more in like this would be more of like, kind of where I would like to get in.
Yeah.
But
you say so.
It's just that when do they curl back in? Jay Trader talks about this, looking for those buyers to curl back in, and then look for that move to continue, and it just makes things easier on yourself. So anyway, that's kind of the anatomy of it, and I don't know where on this chart here, like you said, it's hard to say when you got in because you saw something on the dome in this area, and these volume delta dots here, it's showing some volume. It's just not a whole lot.
Yeah.
I don't really see something that maybe here, but that's really not much. But here, definitely, I see it there, and that's when we're looking for a retest back up to here, and it's going with the trend, the bigger trend. We know there's interest. We know that there's passive orders behind us, and now we're looking for the passive orders to fill up here. So you got some really nice things happening. You identified the trap as well, and then the pull away, and then the momentum move back up into your high liquidity.
Yeah, the main ingredients are there. But I totally agree with what you're saying. I know you like that extra confirmation. I think also because I'm so zoomed out, it aggregates it, and then it gets a bit dark, and then it looks like there isn't much there. But I have like 4 zoomed in. Well, very zoomed out, and then very zoomed in.
Mm-hmm.
This is obviously. This is after the first target, and it's broken above the first target level, zoomed out context, because I'm trying to keep my slides to 2 slides so it's not so cluttered. But
Mm-hmm.
The main concepts that you pointed out is what I'm trying to communicate. But I totally agree with what you're saying. The nuances are a bit lost with this current perspective that I'm showing here. But yeah, I agree, and I'll take the feedback definitely.
Yeah. I mean, like it's nice progression along the way here. So it's really great to see.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It's thanks to you guys, because you guys make the Bookmap entertaining and educational.
Yeah, well, thanks for that, but it's really you're the one doing it. You're the one that's putting in the effort. You're the one who's actually here every week. You're the one who's creating the content and also giving a lot of feedback, and you're learning a ton along the way. So it's really you made it happen.
Yeah, It's a community thing.
Yeah. Yeah, nice one there. And let's see here. What else did I want to go over with you here? Shoot. Okay.
Is there another one?
Yeah, I did have another one.
Oh.
But
Okay.
on a minute.
We can always go over CMGs later if you like.
CMJ said he won't be able to make it up.
Oh, he will. Okay. Well, we'll get him next
Yeah,
week then.
yeah. So here we go. Well, it's been a while, Steven, so I don't have any problem going over again another image for you here. And a few of the other guys that I was going to cover are gone. They left today. So anyway, that's too bad. But let's take a look here. So all right. So let's see. Time of day. This is East Coast time. Is that right? That you put into Bookmap chart.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So why don't you walk us through?
Just give me a sec. What date is that?
This is on the oh shoot, it doesn't say.
It'll be on the other slide.
That might be on this slide. Oh, not this one.
Oh, the 4th. Okay, I was looking at Wednesday.
On this
Tuesday.
one?
Yeah,
this one.
It's Wednesday. Yeah. I'm trying to remember. Yeah, I was a bit late to the party, but I think if I can recall, I got in after a lot of selling.
It looks like a gap fill here. Maybe. Yeah, so.
So it was a live market sim trade. I took a couple stops because I'm, using short stops.
So up in this area here.
Yeah, I was a bit aggressive, most likely, with my first trades. Oh, okay. So we failed to break below overnight low. I saw buyers stepping in. Sellers tried again. They were making higher lows. And then, well, I saw this after the fact. I thought it would be more of aggressive buying, but it ended up putting an ascending triangle type, shape pattern. But the idea here was I wanted to go for the seller's stops. It took a while. It took probably 30 minutes before it broke out, but we got my move to at least the V. Well, I didn't take targets at the VWAP, but somewhere near the VWAP, and my second target was at the POC because I like that level because that's the point of control. It's got the highest volume. I do not show the second target here, but I did get it. So if we look at point number 1, you notice the buy stops. I mean, you notice so you notice the sell stops. So it's buyers getting taken out, and then the buyers come in. That's when I entered long. And then, so sellers tried to take price lower, which gave us lower highs. I mean, sorry, higher lows. I'm a bit confused here. I can't recall what I was thinking. But on the CVD, you can see trap sellers on point number 4. Point number 6 is my overnight low, so we failed to break overnight low, and the play was I'm looking for upside movement to take the seller's stops, and that's what I ended up getting.
Nice. Yeah. So okay, makes sense. Vinny, why don't you jump in?
Yes, Stephen. Yes, your growth is definitely, you're definitely growing. You're applying even more assets to your charts, and you're cleaning them up even more. And again, you have your checklist up above on this a particular trade, which is terrific. All right, way to go. And yeah, regarding your your setup here, I see what you're looking at. You have a structural break. You have a consolidation period right there, and then you have a bump up into your passive orders absorbed. So it looks like you probably had an entry pretty close to around 59.85, and you can take that right on up to your from your high to your left over there was around 59.92. But I would target that liquid up there at 6,000. So I'm not sure if it got up to there. I didn't see your previous slide. But I also like the way you apply the DOM with your trap sellers on your previous slide, just to throw that in again. And I think that's something I'm also going to keep a look at as well from now on. So thank you for sharing that with the audience. And yeah, so those are some of the assets that I see in your setup. Does that kind of make sense of what I'm seeing at how you looked at it as well?
Yeah. I would say, okay, the high liquidity at the 6,000 level, but I was obviously playing it more conservative. POC is good enough for me. I actually didn't know it was going to push that high. And I also see that we're still within the IB, so that would also be part of it. I can't really recall what I was thinking, because this is quite a while back, but that's the general idea. Yeah. I think also you guys will point out that I might have got in a bit early. In hindsight, you can see that there's that ascending triangle type pattern. I don't know if that's the right word to put there, but you can see the higher lows on 0.3. So yeah, and then that consolidation of the trap sellers. But it's obviously auction market profile theory. The idea was it failed to break below. Well, it failed to take overnight low and the IB level. I don't know if the IBL is also in line there. So if it fails to do that, what's the next thing? Well, we could mean revert to the mean, which is the POC. Constructive feedback to myself. I think I did okay with target 1 and target 2. But yeah, I see your point. Could have got the 6,000 level as well, because it's it's so clear on this chart.
Yeah, I'm actually looking at your candlestick chart. Yeah, I actually think I took this trade, and come to think of it, and yeah, I think it went up to that level. But still, with your setup and your execution regarding your exit, I mean, that's your strategy, and I take it every single day of the week with pocketing your winners. So outstanding.
Yeah, and you can see in this one my stop is quite wide here, which is different to what I said earlier. Because
correct. You said
I
like 3 to 4, but it looks like it's 5 points here.
Yeah, because I think it might have been an impulse trade. Well, not an impulse trade, but I was trying not to miss out, and then I got in, and then it's coming back. But I stayed in because I saw the higher lows, if I can recall. It's kind of hard to remember.
Yeah, because it looks like you got 10 points out of this. So if you had a 5-point stop, that risk-reward ratio is 2 to 1, which is pretty good.
Yeah, look, that's the reason why I go for further targets, because it pays for this type of trade. But ideally, I would like to cut my stop loss to at least 3 points. But sometimes you do that and you still get knocked out. If
Sure.
you take the previous trade and then I have to enter again, and as soon as you take a stop, it really starts to mix those emotions around, as I'm sure many traders can relate.
Yeah, and you adapted well to this. Nice going.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Back to you, Bruce.
I don't know, like Stephen, if I kind of go back here and what might, like, when you were talking about John and you know, that you really like, well, we all like what he does, and we've talked about, like, oh God, his setups, I mean, it looks so mechanical. He's like, it's one thing after another. It looks like it's the same trade. And then, you know, we've had these discussions where, yeah, it's great, but there's a lot of things on the chart that aren't in the image. And it has to do with higher time frames. It has to do with, you know, his options levels. And then he's starting to drill down, and then we see, you know, a good execution. And I kind of feel this is the same here. As we see the execution here, but there's kind of higher time frame stuff here, right here. You know, we see that you know, it's a little maybe shaky. I can't really quite view it here, but this kind of fills the gap, but you know, it can't make a higher high. We get another move back down on the higher time frame, and it fills the gap, and it comes down into where these buyers came in. Okay, that's easy in hindsight to do. We don't know if it's going to come back down to these guys or these guys, right? However, a gap fill is a gap fill, and usually there's a lot of traders that react, it's part of their setups, or there's other traders that were, you know, trapped there, or want to get back in, or get out if they were short, etc. And we usually get you know, some nice reactions there. So then that maybe sets the tone to look at it, and then start to look for you know, that high liquidity. Was there high liquidity in here? Did it get filled on the bid? Then do we start to see that those aggressors start to come in with the break of structure? And then let's move on to your image here. So yeah, I don't know, like you say you're looking at the dome and some of the order flow. It does look a little aggressive, to be honest. And and this kind of chop in here. I like these ideas, the same idea as before about the trap. Okay. But now mixing that, I think, with the gap fill or higher time frame. And then also, you know, there's high liquidity in here too, that you know, they're bidding up in here. And it's a nuance, but you know, they're not bidding down here, they're bidding up, and they're as price is coming down, they want to get filled. And these are kind of bullish, have bullish tones to them. And then like you said, okay, you know, high or low, equal highs, but then is that bind starting to build? And it's hard to see on this chart until all of a sudden it just happens, right? They did pull though here, and you know, we're looking, I'm looking here. When are these, if these guys are going to take it, when I would look for it here. It does one more kind of push, and then they come in, and then you know, that's when it looks like they've got the momentum. We've got the trap. We've got a lot of things going for us that pulled liquidity, and then looking for either, I know you look at VWAP and your POC, maybe where it dropped from up here, or maybe where it had opened, or maybe the swings up here, or like Vinny said, you know, big figure and high liquidity.
I don't look at VWAP too much, but like I was looking more at the structure on the left there. That's why I know some people use the VWAP as like as a to exit at first target, but I think for me it's more the structure.
Yeah.
I try to read that more
Yeah.
over the VWAP.
Yeah, me
yes.
too. Me too. And but the good thing is though is like if you can line both of them. So you got structure,
yeah,
and you got VWAP if you like VWAP,
and the purple line.
Then it's about liquidity, or the order flow around that area. And that's where you can put your setup together, basically.
Yeah. I don't show it here, but I see now the high liquidity on the bid, which I could have notified. I mean, marked up the liquidity on the bid where they were bidding. Yeah. I don't know. Maybe I was trying to, note. Maybe I was a bit tired when I was noting this, but yeah, it's quite valuable going over it again and getting your feedback.
Yeah. I mean, we talk about it a lot with reversals, which can be real tricky, but like we want as much as we can get on our side, and until we see that transition here, it's from the sell side here and then to buy side here, but it kind of really just comes out of the blue. There's no kind of there's a little bit of buying here, a little bit of buying in here. This isn't bad what you noticed, not bad. But it just kind of sparks it, kind of starts the fire and kicks it off, and then it just kind of wallows around a bit until we get the buyers really kick it in here. So I don't know, like in terms of the setup, some nice things. I think. Maybe consider like looking at your market impetus, your key levels, and then start to get into developing your scenarios and strategies, and then your setup.
I have a process and some things that I take into account. I do not take account any news stuff. I find that too random. I take it as it comes. I try to be aware of it, but I do not base any trades off that. It's just purely bookmap and order flow and the DOM and the tape. But that's about it. But I can add that. Is that what you're trying to say? Are you saying that I should maybe try to add some sort of layout of the impetus, which is the higher time frame?
The market impetus could be, it could be technical. Like a very important technical level. I just, I was trained by a professional Forex trader who really just looked at the news, knew the news extremely well, and then he just looked at technical levels of like breaking of structure, really. And then he wants to see some volume on it, and that's about it. But that's his way of trading. He just made a comment to me though, and I think it is very valid, is if you look at any big move in the market, then I'll show you an important fundamental event. Yes.
Yeah, I just wanted to add on what you were saying. Yeah, you did talk about a technical level. Hey, technical levels could be your demand and supply zones, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, and you have a video that you just put out on that. Also, a market impetus could be, is the daily in a bullish setup,
right,
or is it the weekly in a bullish setup or a bearish setup? And then you can look for bullish trades. Regarding those setups, if that makes any difference.
What I used to do, I don't know if you guys have noticed, I used to have like, okay, it opened like this, we inside range, outside range, and I kind of left it out in these slides to keep it simple, but I think I might put that back in just to when I get asked like what happened here, and then I can kind of at least get up to speed. Looking at this slide right now, this is my higher time frame, but it doesn't have the ETH, and I do consider the ETH. But, you know, but it's all to keep it simple and clean.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think that's good. And like Vinny, like you're saying, I think it's valid. I mean, like what made this move here? You know, on Tuesday the 3rd. You know, if we go back and take a look at, you know, what was happening in the market. But you know, was it a tweet? Was it trade news? Was it something? But it was a nice move, and the market's still reacting off of that. You know, there's other moves and other things happening too, but regardless of that, that might be the market impetus in the bigger picture. But then, Vinny, like you're saying, you do have you know, something like a key level in here with maybe gap fill or a higher time frame level, and you know, the market is traders are going to react to these areas, and they did in here, and you know, it came right back up to the top here, and then you can see that whatever it is, like, traders are not willing to take this higher at that point. We see it come all the way back down again later in the day.
My trade was at around the 1 p.m. Eastern, so it's kind of also a dangerous time.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
So you can see that we had one last push up, didn't take IBH, and then it fell, which is quite interesting.
You know, guys, just another thing that you talk about market impetus again today. You know, today could have been another good example of that as well with that CPI. They came, you know, what came out, the PPI, right?
Yeah.
You know, it started off with a nice bounce, you know, before the open, and it just continued, didn't it?
Yeah, I mean, like, it reminds me of what we were looking at earlier, like with fantasies trades. Maybe I can bring that back up.
Yeah, good one.
Because, you know, this is the environment we're seeing, in my opinion, right? Is this kind of, let's see here. Yeah, this kind of grinding higher like this. So it's bullish, but like, how bullish do people really think about it? You know, and many days we've seen that they're just kind of inching higher, keeps on, you know, squeezing, pushing, inching higher, and then, like, you know, we get like dramatic moves like that cleans everybody out, and, you know, back and forth, and maybe it's a tweet,
Sure.
maybe it's something else, but then it just kind of starts grinding higher again.
Yeah.
But then, you know, you can look for strategies within that environment to kind of match that. That's what I mean by the I hope it's clear, but that's what I mean by the scenarios and you know, strategies, because it's not a setup, it's more of a strategy of, like, I'm looking for these scenarios. Like, I might be looking for a grinding higher day, and then what setup do you use? I've been stopped out a lot on these grinding days, so I'm looking for a bigger move because I see, like, you know, this kind of volume happening in here, and it's looking pretty good. I'm looking for it to come up here pretty quickly, and it doesn't. You know, you get these deeper pullbacks, you get some heavy selling, but, you know, it just keeps on, you know, kind of grinding and grinding, and you know, my initial stop, like, okay, let's say I got in here and did take some off here, I would probably be, you know, moving my stop up maybe under here, you know, and maybe stopped out right there, and I'm out already. Instead, let the grind kind of unfold, and then, you know, target your high liquidity instead.
Yeah, good point. And like you mentioned, sometimes a good trade is just not being in one, right?
Yeah, that too. If it because, like if we harken back to John, you know, he just says, like, hey, I'm not willing to trade during this time.
No, right.
it's too volatile. I don't know if some sort of like crazy tweet will come out, or some sort of news will come out, and all of a sudden it goes like 50 points the opposite direction. Yeah. And so he found solutions around that.
Yeah, look for your A+ setups. You're right.
Well, A+ setups, but he would trade during the London session.
In London, right.
Or he would look at crude oil, or he'd look at something else that was kind of not as sensitive to the stock indexes.
Yeah, absolutely. News events, correct. I got it.
Yeah. So anyway, just some food for thought, really. I don't know how to say it, Stephen, but something along those lines. If you don't like the news or trading the news, then I would look for, or maybe consider, like let's see here. Going back to your trade, hold on a minute. This isn't it. It's the other one. I think it's just up here. Oh, shoot. Okay. Well, anyway, like you'd mentioned, or you saw like on that the big candlestick chart, the move up. Like, what was behind that move? And then you're looking for pullbacks and trap traders, and then continuation move to the upside. That's kind of more bigger picture move, and that's fine. If you don't, I'm not saying that or pushing like, oh, you should learn about the news. It's up to you. There's so many traders that say like, oh, it's already baked into the the price, and like I don't know if I believe that or not, but like that's how a lot of successful traders trade.
Yeah.
But still, at least understanding and knowing the bigger move, and why, why is it moving? Like here, like this is sharks here, but like this move to the downside, and sellers take control here. They're in control. They're moving the market. There's more selling, and then smaller buying on the way back, more selling, and kind of choppy here a little bit, but the sellers are just dominating until we get down to, I don't know, key level or something here. Previous close here from regular trading hours. There's your key level. So now look for what you think is going to happen within that key level, and he's looking right at it, and he's looking at his 1, 2, 3 pattern, and now he's looking at his setup, and looking for going to Bookmap then to get the feel for the order flow and where price might go. So I don't know, just food for thought, Stephen. That's all.
Okay.
Yeah, let's see, guys, it's top of the hour, 6 o'clock p.m. here, and I did take a screenshot of other guys in here. Mike M, we got Greeny, Snowman, some new guys in here. You guys just put together your spreadsheet, and all you have to do is, if you don't mind, let's see here, maybe I can show somebody who offended.
Yeah, Bruce, there are so many new Bookmap members,
Yeah.
in the academy. It's just outstanding how everybody just gives and takes with each other. Have you noticed that? I mean, it's just very teamwork wise.
Yeah, exactly. And this here's Adekiodiman, and this is a good example. He's got we haven't gone over his stuff recently, but he's doing a great job. He's making great content, and all he did was take he gets his spreadsheet. You just put in the date, You don't have to put in a topic if you don't want to. The platform, you know, this is Bookmap. He's putting it into Discord, but you might want to put something else in there. And then all he's doing is going here, posting it in the Bookmap Academy, or you know, on Discord here, and then going over here, taking the copy the link here, and then going back over here and pasting it in. That's it. That's all you have to do. So just do that and you're on your way. And it's, you know, keep this tab open maybe with your browser, so that it's quick and easy, and you know, you get credit for it, and you work your way up through the Bookmap Academy. So
thanks for going over that, Bruce. Yeah, that was excellent.
Yeah, it's so, I mean, it looks like it's so tedious. You know, we try to make it simple, and boy, you know, God, it would be great to try to make it simpler, but I don't know how yet. So
no, that was good. That's good. Yeah, I bet you a lot of us don't really or know that, you know, but now we do. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, sure. So guys, jump in. Like Vinny said, like, you know, we've got some great traders in here and making some great stuff. Awesome. and learning from each other. You know, maybe this is a guideline here to start to look into, and then we're going to be covering it again and again and again. And I also have something pretty new that I've kind of alluded to a few times in the past, but I'm setting it up in the next week or two, and I'm really excited for building up your playbooks. It's going to be great, and you're gonna build out an edge. And I think this is the number one thing, in my opinion, the number one thing that traders need to understand is if they have an edge, and how to build it, and how to trust it, make it their own. And I got a process for you guys. I think that'll be really helpful. So yeah, I can't wait to share it. So bear with me, give me a little bit of time here, but making your journaling and your building out your edge is going to be a lot easier, I think, in the near future. So
excited to see you. I'm excited to hear what you have to say, Bruce.
Yeah. So we'll get there. We'll get there soon. So okay. Thank you all. Vinny, last words.
Oh no. Okay. Well, I just want to say thanks everybody for communicating in the Bookmap Academy room. There are so many of us. I mean, we are posting left and right. It's so impressive, and I learn from each of you every single day. Bruce, you talked about the playbook. Stephen, you mentioned it as well. You're building yours, and exactly what you said, Bruce. An edge. Develop your system, and you know, let's do this for the next couple of weeks.
All right. Well said. We'll leave it at that. Thank you, Vinny.
You're welcome.
Take care.
Good job, Bruce.
Bye.